guys, been a little bit. I did finally finish Siberia. There is a grand total of 5 parts, each between 2 to 3 hours long. So I will have 3 more videos of that coming out. And then I'm probably going to do some more vlogs. I don't know what game I'm going to be playing next. I have a couple in mind, I just don't know which one I want to do. Also, before I get real far into this video, I did want to mention something. I think I finally figured out Discord, which I think would be a really great way, which I think will be another really great way for you guys to keep up to date on me. Anything I post on Twitter, I'll probably end up posting in there. I have a couple of tabs. I don't know what they're called. Aren't they called channels? I don't know. I may be a millennial, but deep down I know I'm a boomer. I could not figure out Discord for the life of me. I almost didn't want to use it, but since I don't use any other social media and hardly anybody uses Twitter, I want to be able to be in contact with you guys. So I have a couple of channels. One of them was one that Discord required me to set up, so I just labeled that one as automated messages. You can ignore that one if in all honesty. Another one is the art share. As I've started streaming on Twitch, I'm streaming my animations and people have wanted to share their art with me. And I wanted to find a simple way for them to do so. So Discord is that. And then there is the updates tab. The updates tab is wherever I'm going to be posting whatever I post on Twitter, I'll post that on Discord. So that way you guys can be up to date on anything that's going on as far as when I'm streaming, when I won't be streaming, when I'll be posting videos, when I won't be posting videos, all that fun stuff. I want to keep you guys as up to date as possible so that way you guys know when you're getting the videos that you want. So there's a couple of things as far as animation that I wanted to talk about because there is another animator on Twitch that I ended up running into. He dropped in on one of my streams a little while ago. His name is Jonny Scribbles. Link to his Twitch will be down below. I can't go without giving him a shout out because he's given me a couple of shout outs. I don't know why he's decided to do this. I have hardly said a couple of things to him. I dropped in on one of his streams to try to support him a little bit there, but aside from that, he's going out of his way to help me when I never asked him to. So I have to return the favor here. Go check him out. Seriously, support him as much as you would any other independent animator on Twitch or on YouTube. But one of the things that we were talking about recently, actually, in one of my streams, is that when he or I are streaming animation, we're always under the arts category, which, yes, animation is an art form. I will 100% back that. But I still wish Twitch would accommodate somewhat for animators. Because, like, I'm not saying make an entire animation category because there wouldn't be enough to fill the category. I can understand that. But the least we could have is a couple of tags. You know, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, like Blender, Adobe, OpenTunes, Miku Miku Dance, SFM. Why can't we have tags along those lines so that way people can actually search for what they're looking for? You know, the real-time interaction with each other would be really helpful for aspiring animators. Like, granted, I'm still learning myself, so if somebody dropped into my channel and started asking me questions, I'd be like, you're asking the wrong person. But say, I don't know. I don't know anybody off the top of my head. The first person who popped into my head was Camilla, and I've actually asked her questions as far as, as an aspiring animator, where would you suggest I start? And she gave me a little bit of advice as far as just draw what you want, and that was really all she said, which was fine. Like, but if you're looking for something in particular, like if you're working towards 3D animation, and you're looking for somebody to give you some advice and things like that, I wish you could go to Twitch and search through a 3D animation or at least a tag. Not a category, but at the very least a tag. And find what specifically you're looking for, and like it could help you, it could help that animator and all that fun stuff. It was something we talked a little bit about on stream, and when I'm streaming, well, actually that stream in particular, I had finished one portion of my project and moved on to a new one, so I was 100% on a blank canvas, and I started to get really, really stressed out that I was staring at a blank canvas for an extended period of time on my stream. And that was when this topic came up, and I couldn't gather my thoughts very well. So, Jonny Scribbles, if you're seeing this, if I said something during that stream that really didn't make sense, that's why. I don't gather my thoughts very well in real time. I'm a processor. I need that time. So take what I say on stream with a grain of salt. But anyway, the main thing that I actually wanted to talk about in this video is actually some of the things that I would have known, or at the very least been told before I even opened OpenTunes, or started animation in general. This is the kind of thing that if you are to come to my stream and say, I'm an aspiring animator, what would you suggest? These are the kind of things that I am going to tell you. A couple of things are OpenTunes specific, but other things are animation in general. The first thing I would suggest is actually probably the biggest thing that I wish somebody would have told me before I got involved in animation. Don't bite off more than you can chew. I understand. It's really easy to get excited about projects that you want to do, especially when you find the inspiration after watching a DreamWorks movie, a Disney movie, an animated music video on YouTube, or somebody working through the animation process on Twitch. I don't care where you're finding this inspiration. It's great to have inspiration, but don't start so big. Animation is an extremely tedious process, and it takes time, and it gets overwhelming sometimes. If you take on massive projects, you're going to start to feel defeated that it'll never get done. I've done it. I mean, I've done it with multiple projects that I have still not finished. I get it. It's so easy to get excited, and it's great to have that inspiration. Write down your inspiration and start a little smaller. Make GIFs. Make animated GIFs. Somebody waving hello. I don't care how you start. Just start with a few seconds of animation. You have to remember that in animation, 1 second is 24 frames. And in 2D animation, you have to draw all 24 frames. Give or take. Just tell yourself, do not bite off more than you can chew. I wish somebody would have said that to me. And I wouldn't have scrapped as many projects as I have already. Will I go back and maybe finish them? Probably, but it's a really, really defeating feeling that I can't do it because I'm still in the learning process. And it's okay to be in the learning process, but I've just got too much pride and ambition that I just want to commit to it. Anyway, before I get a bit too heated on that, the next thing that I would suggest isn't exactly something that I wish somebody would have told me. It's just something that I discovered about myself as I started the learning process into animation. I started in SFM, which is a 3D animation program, and then moved to Mika Mika Dance, but regardless of that, I moved into OpenTunes, which is 2D. I personally think that it would have been easier if I would have started in 2D, because 2D is a massive, massive project in comparison to 3D animation. So I wish I would have started with the bigger stuff so I still could absorb more information and then moved on to 3D. I think it would be a really good idea to start with 2D animation because a lot of animation books that you would use as a learning resource are based in 2D animation, which means you could learn about frame rate, follow through, physics, all the stuff that goes into making animation look realistic. All of that can be carried over into 3D animation, but then all you have to do is learn the basis of the UI of the program. I would suggest going that way. I mean, some people may actually learn better by going from 3D to 2D, but I personally didn't. I was so overwhelmed with the amount of information that I was taking in from starting in 3D that when I moved to 2D, I was getting lazy about the amount of information I was willing to take in. And honestly, 2D animation programs are a lot more complex than 3D animation programs. I would have never thought. 3D animation programs can, hold more because they have to hold a three-dimensional environment. But 2D animation programs have to have effects, brushes, and just a bunch of other stuff that I didn't even think about. The other day I was talking on a stream, I was like, why do 2D animation programs crash so much more often than 3D animation programs? It doesn't make sense to me. But the further I get into OpenTunes, the more I start to realize why. So to top that one off, just in the end, I would suggest if you're going into animation, start with 2D animation and then move into 3D animation. Unless you're fully committing to 3D animation, just jump right into 3D. That's totally fine. But if you're going to learn both, start with 2D. I would suggest. Some people learn differently. I can understand. Maybe some people could thrive starting with 3D. That's something you gotta learn about yourself before taking on my advice, I guess. So like I said, whenever I started learning about OpenTunes, a lot of the stuff I was getting lazy about learning. Because when I would look up tutorials, they would start telling me information that I already knew. Stuff about frames and how many frames per second. It's like I already know this because I'm already invested into 3D animation. So I would skip around, I got really lazy, and I would cut corners. And that kind of came back to bite me in the butt a couple of times. One of the things I would suggest if you're going to use OpenTunes as your 2D animation program, or if you're just playing around with it to get your feet wet, always title your projects. OpenTunes does this weird thing that everything gets saved in separate files. Drawings, scenes, layers. I don't know why. Okay, actually, no, not layers, anyway. But everything is separate. It's really, really weird. Like, when you render it, it's rendered all together, obviously, but always title your project, because the title of the project and the title of the scene are two different things. The project is the file the scene goes into. I did not title some of my projects, and I lost them. I have no idea where they went now, because I went through and I deleted some project files that I didn't think I needed anymore because I didn't know what the title of the project did and everything, so I just deleted that folder. I must have deleted some projects. I don't really know. Always title your project. How do I want to explain this? For example, I have a projects file called OCs, Original Characters, Original Concepts. So when I was working on drawing and animating some of the characters from my novel, that went into my Original Concepts projects. But I also have a reanimation project where I've put my Undertale stuff, my Dr. Stone stuff. I worked on a couple of little Dr. Stone projects. So, like, just always title your projects, otherwise things are gonna disappear and you're gonna hate yourself later. At least I did. Were they important projects? No, not really, but I didn't want to lose them either. I put time into those, okay? The next thing is actually the rest of this video is going to be OpenTunes specific, but like I said, it's just stuff I wish I knew before I jumped into this. Or at least, I might have skimmed over it in a video when I was looking up tutorials, but just a copy of something in OpenTunes is not the same as a duplicate. Okay, I don't know if this is how it is in other 2D animation programs, but you have no idea how many times I copied a drawing to put it onto the next frame to just edit a couple of lines because it was going to be like a really small movement or something like that. And it edited both the copy and the drawing that was on the first frame. Everything was changing. But if I was to duplicate that drawing, I would only change the one that I wanted to change, like the one on the second frame. It's really weird. So if you don't want everything all at once to change, use duplicate. A copy is just, I don't even know how to explain what a copy is. A copy isn't even a copy. It's not a separate thing. It's the same thing as what you were working on before. I don't understand why a copy doesn't make it its own physical thing, but it's not. So make sure if you want a new physical thing, duplicate it. You have no idea how many times I tried to copy and paste something, and it, like, because I was trying to change something small or something like that, and I didn't want to lose the previous drawing just in case I screwed up, so I copied it and pasted it somewhere else, and I changed stuff only to find out that it changed on the other one. Always use the duplicate option, not copy. The last thing that I was going to bring up, I was actually told in a tutorial specifically this, and I decided to ignore him. And actually, like, I remember I watched that portion of the video and, like, paused it to go do my drawing, because I was, like, working in time with him and everything. So I paused it right after he said it. He's like, don't do this. So I paused it, went in, and did exactly that. And I was having a lot of trouble. So I was like, okay, you know what, let's just continue with this tutorial. I'll see if I can fix it later. Pressed play. He says, you can go ahead and try, but then you'll come back to this video and know why I said not to. So what this tutorial had said was never draw in a vector layer, or vector level as OpenToonz calls it. So a vector level is weird, to say the least. In my opinion, vector levels are extremely easy to animate in, but they are definitely not easy to color in. I use vector levels to do my sketch animation, and then I do the level over top of it as a raster level and redo the lines, like sketching the line or tracing the lines from the layer below it and coloring on that one. Coloring on a raster layer is a heck of a lot easier than coloring on a vector layer. Why? Because the way vector layers work is like when you draw a stroke, that stroke is its own item, and you can click it, rotate it, stretch it, all that fun stuff. But in order to color in a vector layer, those strokes have to be intersecting. Well, a stroke can look like it's intersecting with another one, and apparently it's not, and no matter what you do, it just doesn't. I really can't explain it any other way. But yeah, I was watching this tutorial and I was drawing in a vector layer because I like the way the lines look better in a vector layer. They're smoother and and they're easier to smooth out and they're easier to fix. So I was drawing in the vector layer while doing this tutorial, and he said do not draw in a vector layer, and I still continued to, or I'm sorry, don't color in a vector layer. And I still continued to try to color in a vector layer, and the color just went everywhere and it was dumb. So yeah, heed that advice, never color in a vector layer. Always color in your raster layer. Also, I've recently started discovering effects in OpenToonz. There are a lot of default effects in the program itself that are kind of incredible, actually. OpenToonz is turning out to be pretty awesome, actually. I'm really thoroughly enjoying it, and I actually really enjoy streaming about it too. I wish I could stream more with 3D animation, but all of my 3D animation is synced up with music, and I don't want to deal with that. I'm trying to figure out a way that my stream will capture my music, but it doesn't carry over into the VOD, because apparently the VOD is where you get copyright strikes, and I don't want to be cheaty about it, but like that's what I want to do. I'm trying to figure that out. Also, on the topic of streaming, I'm starting to notice that the time that I stream, as far as 1 p.m. until whenever, like, isn't actually what's going to work for me. So, I'm debating on streaming for like 3 hours, like from 1 to 4, and maybe taking an hour-long break and then streaming for another couple of hours after that. That's probably what I'm going to try starting next week, because that little break there, like, the fact that I stream right through the middle of the day, I need to get something to eat, and I don't like eating on stream. I just think it's kind of rude, even though I've eaten, like, the funny thing is I always got hungry while I was playing Siberia, so in every single Siberia video you guys are gonna see, I've got munchies. But yeah, so that's the game plan. I'm working on trying to figure out the whole audio thing. I want to work in more 3D. I actually want to redo one of my old 3D projects that I did a long time ago that I looked back on and I think it looks terrible. But when you look back at something and you can criticize it, doesn't that mean that you've improved? Isn't that a thing? So I'm thinking about redoing one of those. I'm really getting excited about 2D animation. Like, oddly, I'm so passionate about it because I have as much freedom as I do with it. If I could do more with 3D, I would. But as of right now, the freedom that I have with 2D animation gets me really excited. So yeah, like, as of right now, I'm probably going to be working in a lot of 2D animation. The project that I'm working on right now is going to be taking up a pretty good amount of time, so look forward to all that. Links to my Twitch will be down below, as will my new Discord, so you guys can keep up on whatever updates that I have. Also, if you guys want to share your artwork on there, go for it. I love seeing other people's styles. I follow a bunch of pages on Instagram that are just draw this in your style stuff, so definitely utilize that. I'm probably gonna set up more channels as I go, but like I said, I struggled to figure out Discord, so give me time. Like I said, I may be a millennial, but deep down I know I'm a boomer. Give me grace, guys. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Siberia. You'll have 2 more episodes after that, and then I'll probably do more vlogs, but I'll have other gaming videos to do as well, so we'll see.